everybody, it's the day after Wednesday, and for the past few weeks I have not done a recap because after the first week that I didn't do a recap, I was going on vacation. Well, not vacation. I was going to a wedding in Wisconsin, and so the whole weekend just was kind of muffled with plans for the trip and everything like that. And then the next week was the day after Halloween, and one of our guys brought in his stash of candy because it was his last year doing trick-or-treat. And yeah, you get a bunch of 20 to 30 plus, 30 to plus, plus all the kids. You get all of us just hyping up on candy, and it's bad enough with our own distractions. Our GM just gave up, and I don't blame him. It was a rough night for trying to play. Anyway, so that's why no videos. So I'm going to try and kind of summarize really quick what happened in that time. It's a little hazy. I know last time I did a video, I'm pretty sure I talked about us being in the cabin and having our little session of everyone's talking about their backgrounds and talking about who they are and kind of getting more information, trying to piece together why we want to stay together as a group. And actually, a lot has happened since then. So Soren got out his backstory of why his hair is why he has no hair, and he's got any facial hair he gets is white, and he can speak and write primordial because of his event where he was and he talked about how he was an orphan, and he went out on the hill, found a wild air elemental, I guess it would be, that basically blasted him with all this energy because he tried to write in primordial and screwed up some of the words. Tried to write hello, basically, and basically told him to F off or something like that. Anyway, so, and after that, he would, his eyes were all, the color, whatever that part is called, the iris, I guess, was like this stormy gray swirl that just kept on moving. And so yeah, we went through that, and then we all went to sleep, or started to rest because Sam and Rudy needed it after their experience. We were woken up by a fairly violent storm just off the side of the house, and went to go investigate. After Rudy got hit with a big glob of mud, which we later found out were pillars shooting up from the ground, and one piece of mud happened to hit him. We found the clearing where there was, it looked like some sort of druidic work going, causing the storm is what it appeared to all of us. And so we surrounded the one person that was surrounded by these 4 massive pillars of ground. And Sam attacked. Soren jumped in and said, whoa, wait, we don't even know who this is, and actually used one of his Tranquility Monk abilities to try and just keep everyone at peace. Luckily, the feline female that Tabaxi was there trying to keep herself in check and was unable to do it. Was actually on her way up to the monastery to see if Yama could help keep her calm. Soren was trying wasn't really working. She kept on just beating on us a little bit with the storms that were kind of out of her control. Um, and then Yama came by and just kind of put her to sleep. A lot of talking happened and ensued with Yama telling him about what all has been happening to them, why they were gone for 5 years, kind of going on and on about that, talking about dragons too, because we're still trying to figure out where we are. And Yama told us that had no idea what that was, blah 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 blah. Basically, he said that's a pretty story. You should put that in a book and sell it. Then we make our way up to the monastery, and this is where things are a little hazy because this was our candy session. Basically, we ate, we stayed the night. There were a few other things that kind of happened, but it wasn't anything big. I don't really believe. I think there was an attempt to try and have some stuff happen with Sam and Yama. Soren and Yama were meant to have talks, but I don't think that ever happened. So, which is why I never emailed the GM about it, because I was trying to just say, listen, I don't want to take up any more time. Let's just have this happen, and we'll email about it. But I don't think we ever actually got to that. Back to last night. Everyone went to sleep at the monastery. Sam wanted to get cozy in the stables because, dragons and hay, and he kind of still believes he's a dragon. So he went to sleep in the hay. I wanted to make sure that he was going to be safe. And then a couple minutes later, Rudy came by because he didn't want to be trapped in the room with the two Dragonborn. Everyone else slept in a different room. But they were all in the monastery, and 3 of the 4 nerds were in the stable. Sounds very counterintuitive, but anyway. So then, before anyone could wake up, there was a blood-curdling scream, to which point only the people in the rooms heard them. Us in the stables heard nothing. And they went to go investigate, found a sleeping monk on a bench, someone kind of sleepwalking towards the woods, and a naked woman came screaming, running out. Our female halfling, Icy, came out and attempted to give her a cloak to cover herself and try and calm her down, while Akerith went to go talk to the guy in the woods and tried to wake him up. And then Yama came out, and they talked to Yama, and after Icy gave her the cloak, Yama said that's not really necessary, and turned back, and that lady was gone, and the cloak was on the floor. And then Akerith, after trying to wake up the guy, no, not him, sorry, the one on the bench, when they looked over there, wasn't there anymore. And Yama said, where is everyone else? They said, at the barn. They said, go find them. And Yama went back to do something. I don't remember what. But this entire time, he kept on looking up and telling someone to stop it. We had no idea who. And then they went to go get us at the barn. So So what was happening at the barn? Well, we were asleep. Apparently, Soren likes to sleep in a cross-legged, sitting up position. Like, you know, he's a monk. He just kind of sleeps like that. And in the middle of the night, Sam and Rudy decided to curl up into his lap and such like that. Apparently a really good thing. So Rudy was then attacked by some sort of spectral shadow being. And when it attacked him, it was like greedily hovering over him, putting this shadowy hand on him. And that did some damage to his dexterity, and I think he said intelligence. I don't know. It was hard to hear last night because the place was just loud. We came at a game store, and that's what you have to deal with. So he got hit pretty hard, but no screams. This being had a radius of silence around it. So, you know, verbal spells and things like that, nothing could happen around it. The movement woke up Soren. Soren kind of looked over, saw this being greedily looking down upon Rudy, and they were on a hayloft. So what he did is he reached over, grabbed Rudy, reached under, grabbed Sam from his lap, and rolled off the hayloft, pulling them both with him. And they were able to escape the barn. At the same time that was happening, the Gesh and Icy were coming in. And we then proceeded to try and figure out what to do. So there's a couple rounds of kind of just being at the ready and holding, and there was a couple rounds of people kind of looking around. Akrith noticed that the sky was a familiar silvery color. Akrith realized that we were in the dream world. And then, lo and behold, up on top of the barn, Mr. Sandman. And he proceeded to tell us it wasn't him that did it again, and that he would try to help make it not as difficult to get out as it was last time. Last time we were in the dream world, we had to teleport out with help. So we weren't sure what to do at this point, but Rudy went in to investigate the barn and see if he could hit this being without being silenced. So he kind of was going to, as he walked in, and whenever he stopped hearing, would stop moving. He never got to that point. He used his full movement. It was inside the barn, and so people started piling in one by one by one. Then the being attacked missed Rudy, and at that point, Soren ran in, did a flurry of blows, did some damage to him. And at this point, Icy had started lighting the barn on fire. Sam had already blown the door off with a fire chromatic orb, and was looking for his arrow in there now. So then Akrith fired his crossbow, and both bolts went right through the beam. Metagaming, we understand that that's because they weren't magic items. Which luckily for Soren, his martial arts abilities are now treating his fists like magical weapons. So, of course, he did do damage when he hit him. And then Gesh came around and just crit on this being and took it out. When that happened, we all found ourselves in the exact same position with the exact same items that we had, waking up off the ground where we were. And so when I went to go up and collect items, Sandman had apparently left a note for me, for us to say, hey, sorry this happened. I was able to help you get out of there a lot easier this time. Sandman. And from there, we went back to the courtyard. We were able to find that Yama had been having issues with these dandelion creatures, and it has been for a while. So when we were all kind of gathered, Sam was just finally like, okay, cut the bullshit. I can't do his voice. Sir. There we go. There it is. Right. That's the easy one. And basically told Yama to cut it and just tell us, because trying to protect us from something isn't the way to go. So we did that, and we were taken into a room within a room. Within a room. No, just a room within a room. That was kind of closed off and had these images depicting all of the races on this area that we were. So there were some Skrull, there were some Elves, some Dwarves, some Draconid, and so and humans, so on and so forth. And then this small little Hidozi, Yama, stood in front and said, kind of pointed out who had known each other, who had known him for a little while, and said to Gesh, even though he had to leave at this point, so this is something for you, he said, I've known you the longest. And then proceeded to transform into a Grommen. Grommen are the gorilla-like creatures, not the small little Hidozi ones. And proceeded to call himself, herself, itself, Odessa? Odysseus? Sorry, Odysseus? I can't remember what the name is. But proceeded to call itself that. Why is that important? Well, the one thing that Soren did know from the Grommen village was that they had a statue of a demigod that they followed, and that was the name of the demigod. Gesh would have known that it was the demigod, because I believe actually met a demigod. I don't recall, because obviously Soren wasn't there at that point. And this demigod proceeded to tell us, yes, it knew Faerun, it knew of dragons, it knew of everything that was going on that we needed to know. So, here's the big reveal for the people that weren't there. Faerun is here. On this planet. Here's its little galaxy. We are over here. There, somewhere. In another galaxy. We're still on the prime material plane, so we're not in a different plane of existence. We are just in another galaxy. And that brings us to the big reveal that No one in the party knows anymore because when our GM had his session 0, there were 3 players who have all died since and moved on to their own campaigns. Yeah, that means that we are now in a Spelljammer, 5th edition style Spelljammer campaign. Just completely blowing my mind. So I'm going to do another video here in a minute, or here in a little while, and post it. Spelljammer is a 2nd edition style D&D or a D&D game that involved some space travel. And like I said, I'll go in about that because I'm kind of doing my own little research on it to try and help you guys. And we found out that Yama Odysseus, whatever the actual name of this entity is, can change form into basically anything that it wants. Because at this point, when it's talking to us, it changed form into an elf, and that this form, this entity had brought the Grommen to this planet, I think to protect them, and has since been looking after all the creatures here. The Hadozi, the Grommen, the elves, the dwarves. I think there might have been another one, but I can't remember. It doesn't really have much for the Skrull, the undead. Or the Draconids don't appear to really be under its care. But funny enough, the Draconids have this thing called the cube that we've heard about a couple of times now, and this cube is the only chance we have of getting home. So, with all of this information, we have a few things that we need to do. One, do your own research on Spelljammer or watch my video later. But guys, we have to ask questions at this point of this entity. We have to get our answers now because they're available. This entity knows everything that we needed to know. That we need to know. We kind of talked about it after the game, and once this information gets relayed to Miguel, he's going for Tulio. Soren, who knows Tulio lived on our planet, is going to go for Tulio. Akrith is going to go for Tulio. Sam knows that the Draconid area is going to be tough, way beyond our capabilities. He's thinking about raiding the Wizard Tower. He's going to bring Rudy into that. And so, what's this mean? We're splitting the party. The thought is, with everyone that has 2 characters, we're going to kind of run different sessions. Obviously, we need to talk about this. I believe Anthony's probably going to send out an email about this. But I'm willing to make another character to do the Mage Tower stuff as Soren goes down there to do that. So we're going to have one night where it's going to be like, hey, this night we're doing this, and you're going to have these characters. This night you're going to do this, and you're going to have these characters. And then when it all eventually comes together, you're going to kind of pick a main character. This is the thought. This is nothing about this is set yet. You're going to kind of pick the character that you want to use, and we'll go from there. But obviously we're going to talk about that next session because we're still at the monastery. We're still getting our questions answered. We're still going to go back to town, talk to Miguel, and I think that's when we figure out if the party splits, do we create 2 different paths that we run one night or the other, and then when they meet up, what do we do? So we'll talk about that obviously next week. But that's just a heads up for those that for Vasilek. Yeah, it's for the guys that weren't there. So yeah, Akrith, you seem to have a lot of questions about the Spelljammer stuff, so I'm gonna do a video about that if you want to watch that later. Hope that helps. Hope this is opened the door for everyone to kind of be like, okay, we have a focus now. I think that's one thing that we've been lacking for a while is a bit of a focus, and I know that's why Anthony did the reveal now. Because I think he said he was planning on doing it later, but I think it was a good time to do it. I think we're going to have a lot of good sessions to come. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching.